All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, May 21st. We got a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, it's absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3, 4 more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of yesterday, a .08, not 0.8, 0.08 profit day, so less than 1/10 of a unit there. But hey, it is profit, right? We deserve the cha-ching for that. Luckily, we tossed in the Rockies team total under 4.5. Way more juice than we're usually comfortable with, but that ended up being the thing that kind of tipped it to a positive day, right? Because we put a full unit on it. Cody Bellinger's over hits, runs, and RBIs and over in bases was heartbreaking. He got a hit early in the game. Actually, he flew out deep to center in his first at-bat. That looked pretty good, and I was like, all right, he's on, right? Then he gets a hit, gets on base. They couldn't bring him in for the run. Even when he got his hit, I think he pushed a guy over to third, so that was unfortunate. So there's a lot of ways he potentially could have gotten that hit, run, or RBI. And then the over in bases, right? It's like one more hit. He was 1 for 2 with a single at that point. One more hit, we would have cashed nice +148. So unfortunately, that one was a no-go there. The Padres money line being our only other loser, that ended up being a bad look, right? I thought that we had a decent spot there with them coming off a sweep against the Mariners. Not so much, but you know what? Profit is profit. Yeah, we're not going to write home to mom and dad saying, hey, we made .08 units yesterday, but guess what? If we were to write them, we don't have to tell them we lost because we didn't. So maybe that's the glass half full approach. Here's where the bad news comes in. This ride of the day. Got to drop the womp womp there. Houston money line, Yankees money line parlay from Chris. He was going for his second straight win, right? And we have the tracker right here. You guys can see it on the screen. There's a link to this with the final plays over on the Guy Boston Sports site. He had the Reds +146 day one that cashed. We moved on to day number 2. The parlay, and I'll explain what the ride of the day is if you're like, what the heck is this? I'll talk about it in just a second. Parlay of the Astros money line and Yankees money line. The Yankees did their job. Houston up 2-0, looked pretty good, lose the game 3-2. So we are in search of a new person to ride with today. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it is simple. Just use that hashtag ride of the day or ROTD down in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day. Give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. Also give you a shout out over on my Twitter/X, which will be popping up right here throughout the show. All you got to do is use that hashtag. Make a play. It's got to be inside -150. And if you win that play, we'll continue to ride with you. You get thrown on the tracker, and we'll track how long you can, run that streak up, right? If you lose, we still will shout you out in the next video. But like Chris did today, you got to face the womp womp. So get those hashtag ride of the days down in the comments. FYI, got to take off early today. So I'm probably going to be picking a ride of the day by like 12:30 p.m. Eastern time, 1 o'clock Eastern time, the latest. So get your ride of the days in the comments early if you do want a chance to be selected. And like I said, it's on the tracker. To find the tracker, just go to the pinned comment. The link in the pinned comment take you to the final plays. At the bottom, you'll be able to get a link here. So if you are interested in what the ride of the day is. But all right, we've been rambling for a little while. I know we got a few comments yesterday about the rambling. Sorry, not sorry. Let's jump into it. Game number 1. Guys, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Actually, you know what? All right, you're going to want to kill me, but I do have one last thing to promote. We're doing a lot of content over on Instagram, over on X, on TikTok as well. If you guys do want to follow my Instagram, it'll be popping up right here throughout the show. It's at EvPicks, EVPICKZ. A lot of fun stuff. We're doing some same-game parlays over there. We're doing just some fun challenges and whatnot. So yeah, there it is, guys. Go ahead and follow me over on Instagram. Now let's get into game number 1, shall we? Pittsburgh taking on Cincinnati here. Andrew Heaney on the mound going up against Brady Singer. Yesterday we saw a 1-0 win for Pittsburgh. It's almost like that's how they can win games, right? If they can score 1 run and somehow the other team doesn't score, Pittsburgh will win. That offense is just so tough. But there has been rumors that Bryce Harper could be headed to Pittsburgh. Did you guys see that? I don't know how credible those rumors are, but damn. Andrew Heaney's been having a really good year. He had a couple rough starts there against the Cubs and the Padres, but even still, 4 innings, 3 earned runs, 4 earned runs, like against 2 good offenses, whatever. Outside of that, he's been pretty damn good. 3.02 ERA, 1.14 whip, an average against of 209. He struggled a little bit at home, but he's throwing the fastball, and right now in the last 30 days, this goes against everything I believe, but Cincinnati cannot seem to hit the fastball. I would say for the plus money, I don't mind the idea of Pittsburgh in this spot. Brady Singer's on the other side. I gave Brady Singer a few chances early on in the year, and I did think that he had the capability and potential to be good. I don't know if I'm totally in that boat anymore. He kind of seems like he's been struggling. I don't mind the idea of a first 5 under, though, even though I'm kind of ragging on Singer and Andrew Heaney's had some bad starts. It's like, these are 2 offenses that just do not seem in rhythm right now. The fact that we saw a 1-0 game yesterday is crazy. I mean, the last 4 games for Pittsburgh, 2 runs, 1 run, or 2 runs, 0 runs, 1 run, 1 run. Like, they scored 4 runs total. And then Cincinnati, obviously, their offense looked a little bit better, but 0 runs yesterday, tough to see. So I would look at either Pittsburgh, first 5 under, and then a player prop I don't mind is Reese Hines under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Over on ProfitX, it's minus 138. This thing's minus 160, minus 170 elsewhere. So a little bit of an EV play there, I guess you could say. He's obviously not the biggest sample size under his belt so far this year. I think he's played in like 4 games, and he's hit the under in, I want to say, 3 of them. So yeah, tough to look at, but this is kind of just like a value play. We're getting almost 30 cents of value there. Moving on to Milwaukee taking on Baltimore here. So Milwaukee pulls out another win. They won game 1 of the series 5-4. Then they win 5-2 yesterday. Chad Patrick going up against Sugano, right? Tomoyuki Sugano. I think I pronounced his first name correctly. He actually was looking okay, and then he kind of had a rough start against Minnesota. Patrick's been kind of the definition of consistency, but it's not exactly the best consistency, right? He has been a lot better at home. I'll give him that. And he is better against teams that can't really hit the cutter or the fastball or the sinker. Sign Baltimore up for that, right? Now, they are a little bit better. I give them credit against righties, but their offense is bad. Like, at the beginning of the year, Baltimore was a team that just fade them against lefties, right? At this point, they're just kind of fadeable offense altogether. So, though I don't love the idea of, Milwaukee potentially coming in here and being able to sweep Baltimore, I mean, coming in here, they are at home. I can't really get to the Baltimore side of things. They're dead last at hitting the sinker. They're going to see that 22% of the time. Fastball, bottom 7 in the league. You're going to see that 23% of the time. Cutter, just middle of the pack. That's one of the best pitches that they hit, middle of the pack. And they're going to see that about 45% of the time. So it just doesn't seem like it's a good situation. Whereas, Tomoyagu Sugano, I know I botched the name that time. Why did I try and say it twice? I was 1 for 1, and we missed the second foul shot. Throws a sinker in the splitter. That'll make up right around, 40% of his pitch mix, those two combined. 2 pitches that Milwaukee hit the best. So for that reason, I'm on Milwaukee. I just don't know if I can fully get there in the sense of a sweep, because let's not forget that this Milwaukee offense also stinks. I just ragged on Baltimore's offense, but Milwaukee's offense is nothing to brag about either. So this is probably a game in which I say, all right, we'll lean towards Milwaukee. I'm sure one of these offenses has a bad game. Maybe we just take an under, because I doubt both offenses go off. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's ways to make a case for both pitchers. Like I said, Sugano's not that bad. The pitch mix might not look all that great, but like, Milwaukee's offense stinks. Chad Patrick, the pitch mix really looks really good. He hasn't been consistent, or he's been consistent, but kind of consistently meh. Maybe Baltimore makes him look a little bit better, potentially. I'll lean Milwaukee in the under. I am Minnesota taking on Cleveland, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, I am so confused as to like what they're doing with these games. They still have one outstanding game in this series, correct? Unless I'm crazy. So, yeah, you guys helped me out in the comments yesterday, but then I think even they had some mix up with the games with the one that got suspended and whatnot. So, yeah, we'll see how that plays out. I'm going to break this down as if this is the only game that they're playing. I don't know. I have to look more into it. So if you guys have info on that, like, are they all good? Are they going to play that later? Whatever. I'm just confused. And I'm man enough to admit when I have no idea how something's working, right? I'm going to break this down as if this is the only game that we're worried about today, though, okay? We have Chris Paddock. Wow, Chad Patrick to Chris Paddock is tough to say. Going up against Gavin Williams here. In terms of who's having the better year, it started out as Gavin Williams. I think things may be starting to swing towards Chris Paddock, which is interesting. We'll see who ends up getting the start. I also have seen, I believe, Logan Allen's name out there for the for Cleveland. But again, as I look into this, I'm kind of getting confused as to which game is which, because I think they're playing another game earlier today that we don't have on our slate to break down, right? So again, Gavin Williams and Chris Paddock is what I'm looking at. In terms of that, like I said, Chris Paddock's starting to look like the better pitcher. Last 5 starts, ERA of 1.4, and it's funny because I wouldn't say Gavin Williams has been bad, right? And he's faced some good offenses. He's got like a low 2s ERA over his last 5, but he's really struggled on the road here. He's going to throw a ton of fastballs. That's a pitch that Minnesota hits well. Chris Paddock throws a lot of fastballs. Cleveland doesn't hit that well. It kind of ends there for me. So I'm going to lean towards Minnesota with all the weirdness of them potentially playing the game early, or they're suspending that again, the game that they haven't finished, then maybe this gets thrown out because it's a little bit wonky, right? But to me, this is a Minnesota spot and a potential lean towards an under. Like we've definitely seen some bad weather thus far here, right? Hence why we're having this issue with that game 1 not being played. So yeah, I'm going to lean under in this spot. I think that Paddock and Williams both are pretty good. If anything, Minnesota, I think, is the team that put some runs up today, though. Next up, Tampa Bay taking on Houston. We already talked about this kind of briefly when we went over the ride of the day, but Houston blowing the game yesterday. Again, they were up 2-0 in the top of the 8th, up 2-0. Rounded out to the bottom of the 8th, 2 runs come in, tie game, bottom of the 9th, Tampa Bay scores another one. So Houston's bullpen blew it there. Today, I do still think Houston probably is the spot. We have Hunter Brown listed as the starter, who obviously we could trust. The only thing I'll say, and there's a very good chance that Houston is a play, by the way, like as a full unit, money line play right now, about minus 135-ish in terms of odds. The thing that could kind of scare me away from it is the fact that we do see Taj Bradley, who is, a tale of a different city when he's at home. He is very, very good at home, but this Houston team seems to be okay against him. When I say this team, 35 plate appearances against the current roster. When I talk about the current roster, guys, what I mean is the guys that make up the roster. I know I've said that before in videos, but we always have new guys, tuning in and whatnot. So if a guy played against, say someone's on the Astros now that was on the Pirates a year ago, and they faced Taj Bradley when they were on the Pirates, the numbers count towards that, okay? So it's against the current roster. 35 plate appearances against, an average against of 300, a WOBA against of 477, a expected slugging of 617. So I do think that we could see some decent play here out of the Astros today. And Taj Bradley, though he was, phenomenal at home a year ago, I wouldn't exactly put him in the same boat as that. And he's coming off a really rough start there against Miami at 4 innings, 6 hits, no home runs, 3 walks, and 5 earned runs there. Prior to that, he was looking pretty good. Last time he pitched against Houston, however, it was in Tampa Bay, but this is obviously a different stadium. 4 1/3, 8 hits, 2 home runs, 6 earned runs through, again, 4 1/3. So I think that Houston can get to him. Hunter Brown, obviously a very good pitcher. He's got a 1 flat ERA over his last 5 games here, averaging just 3.6 hits per game, 1.8 walks. So I think the pitching advantage really puts it over the top for me. Give me Houston, full unit on the money line. I think that's got a chance of being a final play. But again, Taj Bradley is different at home. We got to give him that credit. In terms of a total, I don't mind the idea of an under, because now that's kind of giving Taj Bradley a little bit of credit, right? I worry about the bullpens here. Both teams used a few arms yesterday. I think Houston's in a little bit better standing in the pen. That's why I like them on the money line full game. But, in terms of an under, that's a little worrisome. I would say first 5 under or full game under. The problem is I want the Astros to be able to hit the crap out of Taj Bradley today from a rooting interest, because I like the Astros money line more so than I do this under. So if you like the under more, then sure, that might be it. But I don't think that necessarily correlates to rooting for the Astros to kind of get to Bradley, if that makes sense. I'll tell you something that makes total sense without having to think twice about it. Over on Sleeper. What a transition, by the way. Come on. We'll take that. There's a pick on sale. They got a free square over on Sleeper. Jalen Brunson, 0.5 points. I love that I mess up the ad read just to pat myself on the back. But hey, I felt great about that one. They have a $100 deposit match up to $100 right now. If you put in $100, they'll give you 100. You put in 50, they'll give you 50. 25, you get 25. That type of thing, right? Pretty easy math there. But the great thing is all the promos that they're dropping on their app right now, I've been taking advantage of them, and that's another reason to follow me on Instagram at MLB Picks. We're going to be posting a bunch of content surrounding the DFS apps and the DFS player prop world and whatnot. And this Jalen Brunson square, 0.5, guys. If you have not checked out Sleeper yet, there is so many directions to go in and why it is a great app, if not the best DFS player prop app out there. First and foremost, I love their payout structure. They follow a structure that's really unlike everyone else. Each and every play you throw in there changes the payout dynamically. There's other apps that are doing it now, but they were one of the first to do it. So they don't follow a fixed payout structure as in 3 for 3 pays this, 4 for 4 pays this. No. Every pick you throw in will change the payout, right? And I love the fact that they have more squares and more players available on there and alternate lines and everything like that. They pretty much have every prop you can think of on Sleeper. So if it's available in your state and you've not checked it out yet, give it a whirl. Again, you're going to get that deposit matched, free money. You get this Brunson free square as a new user today, and they have a ton of promos throughout the NBA playoffs so far. So check it out. Link will be down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment, or just use code GUYBOSSON when signing up. Guys, again, if you have not checked it out and you have access to it, you will not regret it. The best thing about these DFS apps is all the promos they run. Sleeper, I don't even know if it's a close second as to who runs as many promos as them. They have a great system over there. So go ahead and check it out. Let's jump back into these games now. Miami taking on Chicago. I got a couple comments yesterday when I took Chicago, and people were like, that's crazy. What are you doing? Back in Tyon. 14-1. Tyon pitched a gem. And I get what people where they're coming from. They're like, well, weathers just look pretty good against Chicago. Guys, and maybe I'm just a little bit more of a contrarian than some watching, but in the baseball world, when a guy just pitches really well, and I'm talking like a week, go really well against a team, I almost think that there's time to fade him the next time he plays them if it's close. If a guy pitches well over and over and over again against a team, then yes, he's pretty good against them. But, a week ago, first start seeing them, he pitches really well. I think the second time could be a time to fade him, which we did yesterday, right? Today we have Cade Horton on the mound, who's got one start under his belt this season, going up against Max Meyer, who I would say is the better pitcher, but numbers-wise, you can't really even sit here and say that he's been all that fantastic, right? So I think this is another spot in which we might be able to take advantage of the Cubs and a good number. Again, Max Meyer, I do believe, is the better pitcher here, but Cade Horton again didn't look terrible in his first start there. In terms of what we're going to get out of him is a ton of fastballs. He's going to move into the slider. I think that he could be okay there. So yeah, one start, but other than that, I mean his numbers out of the bullpen. Let's see if we have those handy here too, because I believe he's had some. Let's see. So okay, was this a bullpen start? Yeah, this is a bullpen, not a bullpen start. He came in and pitched the majority of the game. The 4 innings pitched, 1 whip, an ERA kind of high there, 3 earned runs. Yeah, 5 Ks though, 1 walk. So yeah, Max Meyer hasn't been doing anything better than him lately, right? So I'm looking at this saying this Chicago offense is 10 times better. I'm going to lean towards, and maybe it is crazy, I'm going to lean towards, Cade Horton and the Cubs here just because of the offense. Now, we look at it from a bullpen perspective. The Cubs bullpen actually should be in a better situation, so that is obviously good. They also hit the slider really well, the fastball, the changeup, the sinker, anything that Max Meyer kind of has in his bag should be a decent pitch. So kind of taking the approach of, okay, well, screw the pitching on the Cubs side of things. Let's try and back the kid from a offensive standpoint, right? Even if he allows 3 earned runs today, why don't the Cubs during that time go out there and score 6? How about that? Just like yesterday, let's get to them. I guess that would also lead me to being on the side of an over. I guess, obviously, because I did not say anything real positive about Horton. It's been more so, I think that Max Meyer could struggle, and he's been okay. So why can't Miami go out there and give you 3-4 runs either, right? So I'll lean towards the over. All right, St. Louis taking on Detroit, big cash race. Yesterday, we had the first 5 run line backing Tarek Skubal, and it was a good move, right? Tariq came through for us. The game got a little dicey there at the end. They ended up winning 5-4, the Tigers, but yeah, it got a little dicey overall. We're going to see Brant Hunter now on the mound here for Detroit, who has looked okay, right, in terms of being out of the has he been out? Was he pitching out of the bullpen? I want to see how many appearances that he has, because I know he's got 1 start, right? Unless I'm completely thinking of someone else, but we'll find that out in 2 seconds here. No, it's just no, yeah, it's okay, duh. All right, so I was right. I was thinking, I was confusing him maybe with someone else there. So he has, 13? I think he does have a start, though, if I'm not mistaken, but 13 appearances here. He's looked pretty good overall. I would say, again, this is a spot in which Detroit's offense, I've been saying it all series long, is probably the better offense. And the one thing we can say about Brant Hunter is he is a lefty, right? This St. Louis offense is a good offense, but they struggle against lefties. We even saw it. They really didn't get, now it's Scooble, so I guess that's a different story, but we didn't really see them, get to him at all until we started to get some arms out of the bullpen and whatnot. So I think this could be another spot in which we take the Tigers. I would be looking for better money, I think. Right now, it looks like you're getting the Tigers at plus 110 on Caesars actually is the better money, because I was seeing plus 102, plus 103 earlier today. So this could be something that we consider in terms of where these bullpens are. Let's make sure to double check that. I think St. Louis is pretty good to go, but if Detroit's good to go, then yeah, this could be a play that we end up rolling with them. So no, their bullpen was really used yesterday, which makes sense, right? So yeah, I'm going to lean Detroit or nothing in this one. In terms of a total, I would go Detroit team total over. Maybe that's a spot that we could consider here. That way we don't have to worry about, Brant Hunter continuing to be good. But he's got on the season a .96 whip, ERA of 2.3. Like, the dude's been doing pretty good, right? Like, I'm not really worried about him, and he's a lefty, but at the same time, he's not a starter. He's just starting. So, yeah. Against Andre Palante, by the way, who has been just chucking fastballs, chucking sliders, and as good as he was, a little bit of regression lately for him. All right, White Sox taking on Seattle. We got Logan Evans on the mound going up against, I believe, Shane Smith. Shane Smith has been one of those good arms for this White Sox team, which is crazy to say because much like the Pirates, they got something there, but they don't really have much support on the offensive end. Logan Evans, I don't really have much trust behind. So yeah, for a big number, I would consider the White Sox, but you'd probably be looking at them in the first 5 just at all, because the longer this game goes, 2 things will happen. There's going to be more chance for Seattle to score because they have a better offense, and the White Sox, I don't care if it's 5 innings or 9 innings, they don't have very good chances of scoring inning to inning, right? And then secondarily, you'll get out of the Logan Evans, go to the Mariners bullpen, which is a top 10 bullpen in terms of, K to walk rate and ERA, and I believe top half of the league or just right around half the league in terms of whip. So you have the better bullpen, right? So yeah, I would say that if anything, maybe you take a flyer on the White Sox first 5 here. There's not enough for me to get to Seattle. We already had our Seattle spot on take in this series, right? Luis Castillo, we had them run line in the first 5 as well as him to record a win, cashed both of those in game 1. Don't need to do much more, especially with some volatility here. So, yeah, I'll lean in that direction. In terms of a total, I would say under. I think that, if Shane Smith pitches well and even correlating it to my idea of the first 5, it's not like the White Sox are going to put up 10, right? So if they keep this game close, most likely it's a low-scoring game. I want to say we have not had many player props so far in the video. I think we had a player prop here. Ben Williamson under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. In terms of the fastball, the changeup, and the slider, good pitches for Shane Smith to get him out on. I do worry about the bullpen, and we're paying a lot of juice at minus 160, but this is minus 170, minus 175 on other books. You get it on MGM right now. I want to say it was like either minus 158 or minus 160. So yes, a lot of juice, but a spot in which we do kind of think they're like 10 to 15 cents of value. And even from my numbers, which I have my own numbers on the other side, minus 160 is kind of almost like 20 cents of value. So I'm probably overstating the juice, but MGM at least is the best option. San Fran taking on Kansas City. Still trying to figure out who's pitching for the Royals. I've seen like quite literally 3 different names. Not that it would change where I go here. I think the Giants' first 5 run line would be what I consider. We have Logan Webb on the mound, and that's a guy that's obviously worth trusting in my book, which makes sense, right? So this could be something that we look at here. Now, Logan Webb on the season, the team hasn't been all that great. They've actually lost in 70% of his starts. I want to say it's 7 of 10. When at home, though, the last 2 they've come through. So that's a consideration. I don't love the fact that this Giants offense doesn't really seem to be the consistent offense that we saw at the beginning of the year, which stinks because I had said, and when I say not consistent, they've like struggled to score 4 runs in most of their games recently. But I had said at the beginning of the year, I don't believe in this Giants offense, even though they're crushing. And then I came on here one morning and I was like, you know what? I'm sold. I think they're good and blah, blah, blah. Wouldn't you know it? Boom. All of a sudden, it's like the wheels fall off of that one. So I can't even say that, I was right about the Giants. It's like, no, I walked back my take, unfortunately. But I'm leaning Giants as well as a low-scoring game here. So give me the under, maybe a first 5 under. I'd love to get the name of who's definitely pitching for this KC team. I think Daniel Lynch looks like it's the name that I'm starting to see more and more. So maybe that is who's out there pitching for them today, which, like, I guess that's at least information. I don't know if that changes. I really don't know if that changes my take on it all that much. To be completely honest, he's been decent, but what do we have really from him, right? No starts this season so far. Red Sox taking on the Mets. I don't know if anyone watched that other than Red Sox fans yesterday, but Walker Buehler and Cora getting tossed was ridiculous. Walker Buehler, just go on Twitter and search, Walker Buehler. You'll find it because he threw a pitch that was right down the middle, and the ump called it a ball, and he starts yelling at the ump, that was right down the effing middle, right down the effing middle, finishes it up with an F you, right? And the ump's like, yeah, I got to toss you at this point, right? But honestly, on Walker's side there, like, I don't know what the ump was seeing. This ball quite literally was down the middle. So, yeah, interesting there, but that's neither here nor there. That's a little Red Sox fan rant. The Red Sox have won 3-1 and 2-0. They are in a very decent spot here to go ahead and sweep this Mets team because they have Garrett Crochet on the mound going up against Tyler McGill, who Tyler McGill was starting here, and he's slowly but surely getting back to the Tyler McGill that we know, right? So I think that this could be a spot in which you make the argument for the Red Sox. Love Garrett Crochet's ability today in terms of, getting guys out. So there's a potential I could look at him from an outs perspective just because this is a bullpen for the Red Sox that is absolutely torched right now. Like, they need innings out of Garrett Crochet. I will admit the problem with me saying even that, right? Like, oh, they need him and all that. His outs line is at 18.5 right now. You know what I mean? 18.5. So he has to pitch into the, he has to pitch 6 1/3. He has to pitch into the 7th inning to cash that line, which is a little worrisome, right? So, yeah, I would probably, if you can get a juiced line at 17.5, that's okay with me. Him going out there and pitching, that many innings, I think that kind of makes sense. But that's at minus, what did we got? Yeah, minus 155 right now. Maybe that is something that we'd consider because, again, this is a spot in which they pretty much need him. The problem is it's still the Mets offense, right? This Mets offense can get to you. They may have some success against him. In terms of his career numbers, though, very, very low sample size. He's been very, very good against them. So, yeah, I think Garrett Crochet, actually, the more and more I talk about it, the more and more I'm starting to think about over 17.5 outs. That way we just can cut it out. And yes, it's a lot of juice, but that way we can cut it out after the, after the 6th inning. The thing that I'm concerned with, and this is a decent concern, is he's gone 3 of his last 5 starts. He's pitched over 100 pitches. So that's obviously a lot. So yeah, I'm torn on this one, guys. Keep an eye on the final play. There might be some wiggle room in terms of us getting to Garrett Crochet. Maybe we even just look at like a half unit play type of a thing for him in terms of his innings pitched because those pitches kind of worry me. That's a lot of miles on the arm. But I can't trust Tyler McGill. So though the Red Sox, I think it's going to be tough for them to sweep and whatnot. They got their best pitcher on the mound going up against a pitcher moving in the wrong direction. I'll lean towards the Red Sox as well as a potential look at the Red Sox team total over. That might be something that we consider without having to worry about Crochet, without having to worry about, anything but the Red Sox hitting because they really haven't been, quote unquote, hitting, right? They've won 2 low scoring games. This should be a spot in which they can put up a fairly half decent number. So that's something to consider as well. Moving on, Washington taking on Atlanta. A.J. Smith-Shawver on the mound going up against Trevor Williams. Trevor Williams has actually been very good against righties this year, so I think that's worth noting as there are a decent amount of righties in this Braves offense. I will say A.J. Smith-Shawver is the better pitcher. The splitter and the fastball, kind of middling pitches for Washington. Those are going to make up pretty much the entire pitch mix for A.J. Trevor Williams, fastball and slider. The fastball, Atlanta doesn't hit all that well. The slider, maybe you can make an argument there. I would say that this is a spot in which I kind of like the idea of taking a flyer on Washington. Now, is there something that we can actually get to? Not necessarily, just due to the fact that they won yesterday. We were on Washington yesterday in terms of a lean. I can't victory lap it because we didn't bet it ourselves, right? But today, for another price tag of +1 whatever, like I think that, +1, what do we got? +136 right now? Could be another look, but Atlanta is going up against a righty now. The only reason we liked them yesterday is because they were going up against Vigil Parker, the lefty. So I'll lean Washington, but again, I don't know if I got the cojones to drop them on the table, to be completely honest. In terms of a total, I would say that I'm going to lean under. I think Smith-Shawver could go out there and pitch very well, right? And what if Trevor Williams does pitch fairly well? Then we don't have the highest of scoring games. It's always worrisome when you take it under the road because it's Washington in the bullpen absolutely stinks. All right, Yankees taking on Tejas. We got Ryan Yarbrough on the mound going up against Jacob deGrom. Obviously, we know who has the pitching matchup in this one in terms of advantage. And I will say it is a decent advantage, but Yankees hit the fastball well. That's deGrom's number one pitch. The number two pitch, and this makes up, with this added into the fastball, makes up almost 90% of his pitch mix. The slider, which we know that deGrom has a filthy slider. He's got one of the highest chase rates in the entire league right now. But they're number three, the Yankees, in terms of hitting the slider, in terms of runs above average over the last 30 days. So maybe there is some sort of angle to be like, well, the Yankees could still get to deGrom, even though he's the far better pitcher. I would say the Yankees should have the timely hits available to them, whereas even though Yarbrough is kind of like a unknown to some degree, this is still a spot in which the Yankees have the better offense regardless, right? And Yarbrough, through 2 starts, he hasn't been pitching that much, and it was against the Braves and who did he pitch against? The Braves and I want to say Tampa Bay, is that right? 2 teams that don't hit lefties well, so we don't really know what we're getting at, but it's not like Texas hits lefties well either. So I think I'm on the Yankees, even though I acknowledge how good deGrom is, but I don't think you're going to get this matchup with Yankees versus Texas's offense at minus 115 very often. You know what I mean? So yeah, maybe it's a little bit crazy, and it probably is to some degree, but I don't mind the Yankees in this spot. Now, one thing that I could kind of get behind is saying, okay, well, maybe deGrom does go out there and pitch pretty well. What if we consider a Yankees team total over? That way, we can say that, okay, let's get to the bullpen, right? Maybe they can kind of hit up the bullpen. And secondarily, we don't have to rely on Yarbrough or anything like that. So Yankees team total over 3.5 right now. Minus 120, I think that could be worth a flyer. I don't think that they'll be down, or out in terms of anything. Like even yesterday, right? They scored some late runs. Again, it's against deGrom. I understand that that's going to be a little bit more difficult. He's had some really good numbers against them, but maybe they can get to that Texas bullpen like they've done a few times. So Yankees team total over 3.5 might be something of consideration today. That way we don't even have to worry about backing Yarbrough. He could pitch well. This is still a bad offense, but I think the team total is going to be something I'm more comfortable with. In a player prop we're considering now, this thing has definitely jumped up and bit us in the you-know-what multiple times this year, because we've taken Adolis Garcia's unders, hits, runs, and RBIs, but I like him against a lefty here. Sure, he's going to hit the sinker pretty well, which is going to be the number one pitch from Yarbrough, but the good thing is that the sinker, he doesn't necessarily hit for power, and then the slider, changeup, cutter, and fastball, all 4 of those pitches, the next 4 you might see, struggles against. So yeah, against lefties, he's got an 8. So this season, he's got an 84.1% WRC plus, right? Against lefties, a 3.7. I think this is worthy of looking into, right? In terms of making a play there. The problem is, even though he is a righty and whatnot, what if he just flicks one to right field and it's like, oh, that was a home run. That should have been a pop fly. Tough, but yeah, I think that both those have a chance of being a final play. Yankees team total over, as well as Adolis Garcia under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. All right, guys, before we jump into this game, go ahead and comment. What do we got? 32. I think we're about 32 minutes into this one. Yeah, comment 32 and let me know which matchup of the day you think is the best. You can go from 2 angles. Let me know if you just think it's the best from an entertainment purpose, or you think there's a lot of value in one game. If you think a lot of runs are going to be scored, maybe you're taking some home run props in that game. I'm kind of curious to see, and we might be doing this a little bit more often, kind of getting a sense of what the community thinks is the best game to kind of look into. So yeah, comment 32 and let me know which game you think has the best value. I saw a comment the other day of when we even asked because sometimes we'll do 32 and comment the jersey number. We got a comment being like, why do you care? And it's like, what do you mean? I'm curious why would you ask any question if you don't care in life? You know what I mean? Some of these comments crack me up. So yes, I am actually, this dumb brain is actually curious as to what you guys think is the number one game. If I just wanted the comments, I could just say the 32, right? So it's not about I think that's what that person was getting at. Oh, you just want someone to comment something. It's like, well, yes, this is a YouTube video, but I'm kind of acknowledging that there's humans on the other side of this. I want to know what they think. So we'll come up with more and more questions. Little rant there, but hey, we kept it pretty concise, right? Let's jump into this game. Gausman and the Jays going up against Vasquez and the Padres. I now really do wish that the Padres won yesterday, because if the Padres had won yesterday, I think this would be an all systems go on Gausman and the Jays. He's got some really good numbers against them. But I think the Padres at some point are going to not necessarily erupt, but get back to what they were doing. They've now lost 4 straight games. They've lost 6 of their last 8. This team is struggling. So Yeah, I wanted to look at Toronto today, assuming, because again, we took the Padres as a final play yesterday. Really wanted to roll with them, just couldn't get there. I still will say Toronto, but I don't think it's going to be a final play. I love backing Gosman. You know, you have Gallen, you have Gosman. Dylan Cease used to be one of those guys. Garrett Crochet is definitely one, even when he was with the White Sox. These guys that I really like to back, and whether it's from an analytical standpoint or just from like I love the entertainment of that, which guys, FYI, a lot of the reasons why we bet is for entertainment, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. So yeah, Goslin's one of those guys. I don't think I can get there today, though. I will say an under. I could see him keeping, this Padres offense through 5 innings kind of low. I mean, you have Randy Vasquez on the other side of things. I never really would want to back him. But in terms of his pitch mix, he's going to go fastball. He's going to go slider, cutter as well. That's not exactly the best type of pitch for this Toronto team to hit. So maybe we could even get behind a first 5 under. Over the last 3 games here, 0.67 runs for the Padres in the first 5, 1.67 runs in the first 5 for Toronto. And that is via our dashboard. You can see it right up here, right? If you guys want access to this dashboard, just head over to GuyBostonSports.com. I'll actually show you really quickly. On the website, you'll see here, members area, MLB dashboard. I'm logged in, so I'll see it. If you are not logged in, it'll ask you to sign up for a subscription. Go ahead and get it, and you get every single game broken out in a visual format to help you in your research process each and every day and kind of identify things like we just saw right here, right, with this first 5. So maybe a first 5 under is something to consider in this one, but Toronto money line is also what I'd be looking at. If we could skip a game, I'd skip this one. We have Taijuan Walker, and the Phillies going up against Carson Palmquist, who and like I tell you guys, I am always willing to admit when I don't necessarily know a player or anything like that, right? I don't know too much about this dude. So what I do know is he's got a terrible ERA. He's really, really young. I think his first start was against Arizona. So even that ERA, it's like it was Arizona, right? I'm going to say Colorado team total under again, but I can tell you right now, I don't think that I get to this one just due to the fact that we have, what's his name? Taijuan Walker on the mound. Like, I don't really love the idea of him. So to me, this is probably a spot in which I just say, okay, this game's crap. Don't force anything. We have a lot of action that we like so far on the board today, but I'd go Phillies some way, shape, or form. Colorado team total under, anything of the likes. Athletics taking on the Angels. I'm still kind of salty about that game number 1 of this series in which we took the first 5 under. Yesterday it was a little bit more according to plan in terms of what we saw. A lot of runs scored in that game. That was Hendricks and Hoagland. Today we have, I want to say it was, Jack Konowich, and we have JP Sears. I think another high-scoring game could be, in play here. Neither one of these pitchers is all that tremendous, and the Athletics, I think, should be able to get to the pitch mix of Kuchanowicz. So I'll lean Athletics, but no way I'm paying that hefty price tag. But I could get convinced of an over. But you could probably tell by how quickly we went through this one, not exactly my favorite spot. Dodgers taking on the Diamondbacks. We have Dustin May on the bump going up against Corbin Burns. For plus, what do we have right now as the best odds for the Diamondbacks? I'm going to say I think that there's a massive pitching advantage here. I'm kind of over the Dustin May effect of people thinking that he was good. I think he's shown us that he is good, but I'm not going past that, right? And Corbin Burns may potentially be starting to look like Corbin Burns that we know. So I think that for a nice little spot here in terms of what we can get for odds, which that's what we're looking for right now, Diamondbacks, okay, well, the bullpen I'd worry about, but for plus 120, I think that could be a decent kind of spot. Maybe if we just look at the first 5 Diamondbacks right now in terms of first 5 money line for plus 105, I'd be wanting a little bit more than that, but that might be something that we take a peek at. Again, Corbin Burns on the mound here, and this Diamondbacks team, I think should be able to get to Dustin May. Even though he has some decent numbers against them, pitch mix-wise, he's going to throw a lot of sinkers, a lot of sliders. They should hit both of those pitches. Corbin Burns throws the cutter, the curve. I mean, we can't really split hairs and say that this Dodgers team is bad against any pitch, but I think Corbin Burns has the upper hand. The problem is, and we've been calling this series pretty well so far, the problem is Corbin Burns is an electric pitcher. This Dodgers offense is like a freaking video game, right? So it's like at any point they could score against anybody. But I'll take the Dodgers. I'll take the Diamondbacks as well as a potential look towards, I guess, their team total over. Maybe that is something that we can kind of get behind there, which we haven't looked up the odds yet. Let's see what we got there. So Dodgers team total over for the full game at 3.5, minus 160 isn't terrible. They haven't been looking all that great in this series, but usually these are pretty damn high-scoring games. And like I said, I think they might have some pop. So that might be something that we consider. I'll consider Dodgers team total over. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button down below. Appreciate all of the support. I'll do a quick little 30-second rant here. Whenever there's a new season that rolls around, we get some new viewers, right? Which is great for us and all that. But some of those new viewers feel like they're entitled to start talking about how the show works, or something like I'm doing now, rambling and ranting and all that. I understand that, yes, 15 games, I could go really quick and just boom, I like this, I like this, I like this, I like this. I prefer to talk things out. Clearly, I'm a talker. Clearly, I can talk a lot, and it's worked thus far. So what I'm trying to get at here is I really do appreciate when people are going to bat in the comments like that. Like, we're kind of keeping it respectful, but when people are like, dude, this video stinks, you're rambling, you're talking too much, and people are like, dude, what are you talking about? That's what I like about the show and all that, without being like, going steep into their level or stupid into their level, being like, yeah, well, screw your mother, that type of thing. Like, I like the idea of the backing, and that makes me feel good, and I think it says a lot about our community. So, yeah, if you stuck around to the very end, I assume you are one of the real ones that does appreciate, and that's why I kind of saved that for you. But I see that stuff, and I do appreciate that stuff, and I don't take any of it for granted. So, yeah, with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.